great speaker in Mr. Tyrone Griffin. Tyrone hosts a radio show every Saturday morning called Bunny Slippers Are Evil, in which he talks about what the job seeker goes through in transition. So with that said, Mr. Tyrone.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody, thank you for having me back. Well, I was here a couple of months ago, and we talked about bunny slippers. And real quick, if bunny slippers are evil because if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you got on your bunny slippers, you're not looking for a job. That said, today I'm talking about the art of networking. How many people here are new to transition, say within the last month or so? Just got out of transition, no? Okay. Let me ask this question. How many people are shy by nature? I don't like to. Okay. Get over it. And I'm talking from experience. And I've said this, and Joe's heard me say it many times. I'm a shy person. Transition. When you're in transition, you can't afford to be shy. That's the reality. It's. I'm going to talk some of this today, but it's like, and I asked the women here, you go to a party, and you basically just sit back because all the guys come out, right? Now, welcome to our world. You have to go after people. That's what networking is like. You can't network passively. You can't network by saying, well, I'm all this, I'm going to wait for the person to come to me. So, that said, I got 10 rules of networking. It's not what you know. Went too fast, sorry. Don't look. All right, here we go. 10 rules of networking. Are these cute guys? Shake hands. It's not what you know, but who you know. Real quick. That makes you important. So networking, I looked up the definitions. A group of people who exchange information, contacts, experience for professional or social purposes. A support network. Networking has been done all through recorded history. It's not new. We hear about it now in job searching, but it's all about who you know. But it's been going on. Here's an example. Remember when you heard that this king and this king had their kids married? That was networking. That's what it was. It was, we need to be able to fight off whoever, or we need to add to our territory. So I'm going to marry my daughter off to his son, and then all of a sudden the family is murdered. The man who created the wheel. I think about it. You create a wheel, you don't know what to do with it. There's somebody over somewhere needed a wheel. Network. So network's been going on for thousands of years. Peter Drucker, he's a very famous man. He said, more business decisions occur over lunch and dinner than at any other time, yet no MBA courses are given on the subject. How many people have been to sales conferences? Marketing conferences, business conferences, annual meetings. You notice there's always a time set for what? For networking. So it's nothing new. This is what has been going on for the last thousands of years. In transition, it's more important. They say 65 to 75% of jobs are found through networking. It's always been like that. We have a lot of new tools now, but it's still the same thing. So who was the first networker? Anybody know? History's first network.
I was going to say the serpent.
There you go. Genesis 2:4. You will not certainly die. The serpent said to the woman, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. One of the most important things of networking. You don't walk into the room and be selfish. It's not. And if some of you remember during the 80s, there was this whole thing of talking to somebody and saying, hello, what can you do for me? It was all about what you can do for me. What the serpent said is, he switched around and said, what can I do for you? And that's how you network. When you walk in and meet somebody, you don't walk in to, you saw Magic Johnson. You don't walk in and say, hey, Magic, give me a job. Or you don't say, hey, Magic, what can you do for me? Because right then, and think about, I equate a lot of job search to dating. When you meet somebody new, as you're a single person, you meet somebody new, and they come up to you and say, ladies, man says to you, you will make me look so good. He might be thinking that, but he's not going to say that. No man's going to come up to somebody and say, hey, you can do a lot for me. You can do a lot for my career. You switch it around. But that's what networking is about, what you can do for other people. If you do for other people, believe me, somebody's going to do for you. So rule number 1, true networking is not selfish. Okay? Kid, he's got 2. Some brothers got none. So the successful networkers I know, the ones that are receiving tons of referrals and feeling truly happy about themselves, continually put the other person's needs ahead of their own. This is from Bob Bird, who, and I apologize, I got this quote this morning, and I don't know who this guy is, but it was a really good quote. But that's the point. It's true networking is not about you. Okay? When we talk amongst ourselves at the tables, what you ought to be thinking when you hear everybody talk is, what can I do for this person? How can I help this person in their transition? If we all need help. But the thing is, there's 25 people in here? If any of us had the mentality of, what can you do for me? Believe me, none of us would help that person. But for everybody in who has the mentality of, what can I do for you? Now you can have everybody in here trying to help you. So if you give, if your first inclination is to help others, again, everybody will help you. Rule number 2. Network is not about job search, it's about people. Village, people. Oh, now everybody young. Okay, I'm so sorry. I was going to sing YMCA up here, but I won't do that. Thank you. Right? It's not about what you know, but who you know that makes the difference. Everybody in here in transition has met some really smart people who know a lot of good things, but they're still in transition. It's not about what you know. It is really about who you know. And the way you get to know people is through your network.
May I ask a question right here?
Yes, sir. Which one?
Are we being looked at to be hired to do something or to know someone?
You're being hired to do something, but the way you get to the point where somebody can know what you can do is by knowing someone. For example, this young lady has a job. She's looking to hire somebody. She doesn't know you. You might be the perfect fit for that job, but she doesn't know you. So what do? You send a resume. You and everybody else in here. Now, she's got 25 resumes to look at. Again, she doesn't know you. But now if Maxine says, what's your name?
Eldridge.
Eldridge. If Maxine says, look at Eldridge. I know Eldridge. I can vouch for Eldridge. Then, okay, she's still got a stack of 25. Maybe you come to the top. And she takes a look at you. And because Maxine vouched for you, then she gives you a look that you might not have gotten before. See, the thing is, recruiters are getting so many resumes that the hiring manager will say, well, I need 10. The recruiter has 500 resumes. So what does he do? He doesn't look through 500 to find the best 10. He looks for the first 10 that meet the criteria. And if it so happens in the first 25, in those 475 resumes, which might have stars, might have people that fit perfectly, they get thrown out. So that's why what we're always trying to do in networking is get to an insider. You're always trying to get to a Maxine who knows, or Tammy?
Yes.
You get to a Maxine who knows Tammy. Now, when you network with Maxine, your goal is to get to Tammy. But you don't say, hey, Maxine, can you hook me up with Tammy? Say, hey, Maxine, I want to network with you. I want to share. I want to give as much as I get. If there's something in my network that you can use, or somebody that you want to meet, let me know. Well, then Maxine says, okay, well, Eldridge is not a bad guy. What can I do for you? Absolutely, I want to meet Tammy. Bam, makes it for you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Tyrone, just to add to that, networking isn't always about who you know, right? It's about who knows you. And the case in point was this morning, I was just checking my emails from a guy that I network with, right? So he's got like my resume, my marketing plan, he knows what kind of jobs that I'm interested in. So he sends me a job at a company that I've never even heard of, right? And in software, so I have an IT background, so it kind of fits criteria both from an HR management perspective as well as IT. And he says, and by the way, I know the president of this company. Do you think that might help to move me into potential interview slot?
Exactly right. It is about who knows you, unfortunately. I mean, it's not fair, but that's the reality of it. There are people who've been getting jobs, going back to the wheel. There have been people that have been getting jobs for millions of years because they knew somebody. How many people worked at a company where your new boss had the same last name as the owner of the company? Okay? He knew somebody. That's the ultimate networking. Every night at the dinner table is networking. Daddy, I need a job. Okay, here, you can run this division for me. Is it fair? Who's to say? I mean, you find it fair. But it really is, networking is really about who knows you. Maxine knows you. And the good thing is, if you have to make sure that you have made a professional impression on Maxine. That's the thing. There's a lot of people out here who got shocked when they found out their drinking buddies wouldn't vouch for them. And why? Because your drinking buddies saw what you were like. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, you know this person. Hey, can you hook me up? And the first thing they think about is what y'all did when y'all went to Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and they go, yeah, I don't know if I want to connect you. So it's networking is, we're not even going to touch on your personal brand and all those types of things. But just know that getting to people, if you network with Maxine, you look like that. She said, oh, I don't know Tammy. You're going to say, what, y'all carpool? But I don't know Tammy. Rule number 3. LinkedIn is not the house, it is a hammer that helps build the house.
That's a good one, Tyler.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not going to forget that.
Some of them people, who's that? All us old people,
You're dated.
We had our pants, that's all I'm going to say. We had our pants. But the thing is, everybody talks about LinkedIn now, and we're going to get a presentation on LinkedIn after this. LinkedIn is not the goal. LinkedIn is a tool. The goal is networking. It just so happens that right now, LinkedIn is the favorite tool. Facebook, MySpace, go back further than that, eWorld, AOL, they were all about networking. What happened is when the internet exploded, all of a sudden you could put 1 billion people in a screen. But LinkedIn is just the favorite tool now. If we go through this in another 5 or 10 years, it may be something else. But the concept stays the same. It's about networking with people. Sorry, y'all. Rule number 4. Networking is about stepping out of your comfort zone. Okay, I'll explain this. Vanessa Williams had an album called Comfort Zone, okay? So I put a picture of Vanessa Williams up here. The fact that she's beautiful had nothing to do with it. She's got an album called Comfort Zone.
It looks like Beyonce.
No, Beyonce never looked that good. No, don't even go there. I'm fighting words.
Meanwhile,
Excuse the commercial. But no, networking is about stepping out of your comfort zone. When I first started, I asked people, how many people are shy? You got to step out. Let's be honest, we're some piranhas and some barracudas out here. Why? Because there are people out here who are losing their house, or or their family, or their NFL package, or whatever. But we're losing those things, and that makes it very cutthroat. And if you sit back and wait for it to come to you, it won't come to you. So your comfort zone of, okay, I just want to network with people I know. The first thing they always tell you is, network with your friends. I know my friends. Network with your family. I know my family. Yes, I tell them what I'm looking for, but I have to step out and go to events like this, where I get to see people that I didn't know. Number 5. Network is like blind dating. The best thing someone can say is, I have a friend I'd like you to meet. Remember the show Blind Date? That was the only reason I used it. Didn't say Blind Date. But, somebody say, I have a friend I'd like you to meet. That is like gold for network. If Maxine was talking to Eldridge and saying, Eldridge, I got somebody I want you to meet. And then when Maxine takes you to Tammy, Maxine is endorsing you. It's just like with dating. When you say, I got somebody I want you to, I got a friend who you might like, they're endorsing that you're not crazy. You might be. Some of us hide it well. But, and some of us don't hide it well. But when somebody says that, I have a friend like, that is when you're doing it. That is gold. When you can get somebody to, and some of us have experienced where you're in a room networking and somebody says, come with me. And they take you by the hand and walk you over and say, you two should meet. That's when it's real, you're doing it right. Rule number 6. The worst thing somebody can say is, I did some heavy research.
That's great.
I did some heavy research. Google is a great thing. But my point is this: don't be afraid to go out there. They say networking should be, one level below stalking. Yeah. The worst somebody can say is, leave me alone. That's the worst thing somebody can say. You gotta. How many people have had some recruiters that'll call them every day? Nobody? Okay. How many women have had, and I apologize to the Afro women, but had a guy who'd been chasing you and he just kept harassing you? Hey, how you doing? I just wanted to hear your voice. Y'all laughing, y'all don't raise your hand, but you've been there.
Bringing up some bad memories.
If he wasn't in church, I'd take you some. But no, the thing is, don't be afraid to reach out to people. Because again, the worst thing somebody can say is leave me alone. If I'm trying to network with Warren, and I call Warren every day, hey, how you doing? And he would say, look, leave me alone. Okay. Then I go to the next person. It's 7 billion people in the world. They all can't say leave me alone before I die. So you just move on to the next person. Yeah. The only way you can hide your network is in a cave. There's some people in LinkedIn who don't like to link to people because they don't want anybody to know their network. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard of. And let me explain why. Say if you guys are all my network in LinkedIn, and I don't want anybody to know about y'all. So basically, none of y'all have friends, right? None of y'all have profiles in LinkedIn. Because maybe somebody can't find y'all through me, but they might do another search and find you. Well, only thing I've done is make sure that I'm out of that loop. Your network, when you get into LinkedIn, there's all kinds of reasons people use LinkedIn. Some people use LinkedIn specifically for prospecting for clients. They're in a sales capacity, and they're just trying to find new clients, and that's all they're using it for. There's some people that are those lions at LinkedIn open networkers who link into everybody. Those are good people, because if you get in their networks and all of a sudden they got 10,000 people, that's all of a sudden you are one step away from 10,000 people. But again, if you meet a good contact and you decide I don't want anybody to know about this person because they're a good one, get over it. Because I can search and find that person without you. And all I've done is make sure that when I do find them, whatever we do, you have no part of. Rule number 8. Learn how to play the game. Twist it. Oh, good. Be open. Be forward. Be outgoing. Don't worry about what people will think of you if you try to network with them. If they don't understand what you're doing as a networker, then they're not networking. Funniest thing to me is you get an interview, and I've had like maybe 3 in the last 10 months. And you go to LinkedIn and go to look up the research on the hiring manager, and their profile, I'm not exaggerating, I've had one interview with a hiring manager whose profile was one line. It was his name. That was his whole LinkedIn profile. Okay? That's the kind of person that will end up out here and won't know what to do. Unfortunately, that's the kind of person that networking with that person is truly a gift for them. Because they can't offer you anything. There's no tit for tat. There's no give and take. There's give. And if that person comes to you, then you help that person. But understand that there's very little they can do. So find people who understand the game and learn how to play the game yourself. Those LinkedIn open networkers, link into them. You do one of those free webinars on the web, on LinkedIn, and at the end of it, they say, hey, link into me. Link into me. The thing about it, you never know when you're going to need a connection. You go looking for a certain company, you go look for jobs that they have, and then it tells you who in your network is connected to this company, and it's like, wow, so, I say your next job is going to come out of left field. It's going to come from someplace you least expect it. You're going to do all your research over here, and something's going to come in this way. In transition, your job is to try to make as many left fields as you can, because you don't know which one is going to have that opportunity. So it's, networking, be open. Network with everybody. But again, as rule number 1, don't be selfish. Offer to help as many people as you can, because if you help a lot of people will help you. Rule number 9. The more networking you do, the easier it gets. We love repetition. The more you do, the more times you do it, the more, it's like the elevator speech that we practiced today. The more times you do it, the easier it gets. So you can't do, I'm only going to do my networking on Mondays. Every Monday you got to reinvent and remember what you did. The more you do it, the easier it gets. And number 10, know the of networking is to keep networking. The goal is to just keep going. Okay? It's not, you're not networking. There was a slide earlier talked about you don't network for a job, you network to people. Reason being is if you network with somebody for a job and don't get it, what do you do with that person? And if you gear your networking toward a job, I mean, don't get me wrong, we're trying to find jobs, but network with people. You're not networking with a job. So when you land, keep networking. You know, it's not like, well, I got a job now, I don't talk to anybody else. You know, there are some people who are like that. You know, they stop networking. They stop accepting invites because, well, they're working now. They don't need it. If transition teaches you nothing, you're here now, you may be here again. And you think about what you had to do to build your network this time. Imagine having to start over from scratch and do that again. How many people in here found that people that they used to work with, who were their friends, who they went to lunch with, and you know, things like that, they haven't heard from them since they left? Yeah. How many people here have tried to talk to the co-workers they used to work with and tell them, look, get your LinkedIn profile straight? I'm not saying you're going to get laid off, but if you do, be ready. You know, some people, they think of networking only when they need it. I'm not going to worry about it. When I need to network, I'll do it. And that's when you come off very selfish because you got two contacts in LinkedIn and you're trying to network with this CEO. And you say, oh, I'm an expert networker. And they look over again. You got 2 contacts in LinkedIn. You got 4 friends in Facebook. You know, you got a huge MySpace following for whatever reason. But again, I mean, the goal of networking is to keep networking. And don't put on your networking button. I had to find a way to put a commercial.
That's right, there you go.
I mentioned earlier, I do a podcast called Bunny Slippers Are Evil. Got a website called Bunny Slippers Are Evil. Got a Facebook page called Bunny Slippers Are Evil. Got a blog called Bunny Slippers Are Evil. It's all about networking. How can I help you? This is what I'm doing. These are all the things I'm doing. It's about networking. I'm trying to network with people, as many people as I can. I'm trying to find a job, yes, but I'm trying to network. I have a lot of free time, obviously. I
have 2 offices.
I have 2 offices, right? I got Panera Bread East and Panera Bread West. And I got a satellite office at Starbucks. That's right. But the point is, all of this, I mean, it's networking. Okay, it's networking. Don't be afraid to put your LinkedIn profile together, even if it's a bad LinkedIn profile. You can't be found with no LinkedIn profile. You can be found with a bad one by accident. If they find you by accident, do you really care? No. So don't overthink it. There's never the perfect resume. There's never the perfect LinkedIn profile. There's never the perfect networking style. There's never. It's what you learn is the way you link in. You network with some people. It's totally different than how you network with other people. But at the end of the day, it's always about the people. Anyway, thank you very much. I hope that was enjoyable, understandable, not boring.